Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Doherty?
Here.
Mr. Gould?
Here.
Mrs. Mastercard?
Here.
Mrs. McCarthy?
Here.
Mr. Richards?
Here. First, I want to welcome everybody, and we are being recorded tonight. So anybody who doesn't wish to be recorded can head home and watch us on Channel 9 and now on YouTube, I believe we are, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what John said earlier. So just a little bit about tonight. This is just the superintendent's presentation. There's no back and forth with any of the school committee members or there's no public comment. So he's going to present it tonight, break it down for us. Then we get 2 weeks to absorb and do our own breaking down, and I'm sure you guys will have questions as well. And then you come back on the 22nd of January for the public hearing. Start time is 6?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock for the public hearing. So, yeah, go ahead. You want to come up and say a few words before you sit down? All right, so with that, I'm going to, actually, I'm going to have to ask if we can close that door, because we can't have people walking by while doing the presentation. Maybe if anybody hears the buzzer ringing, they can let somebody in, if that's okay. You? Okay, perfect, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gould. All right, I will turn it over to the superintendent.
Thank you very much. Thank you for letting me submit this budget to you. I know that a few of you got this budget right before the vacation started, and some of you got the budget during the vacation. I'm sure you've had a chance to look at it, but of course, it wasn't a homework assignment. You didn't have to look at it at this point, because that's not what tonight's for. So I do want to go through a few things as far as, and I'll go a little bit slowly, so if I go a little slow or be a little redundant, it's just that I want to make sure everybody understands what's in this and what I'm looking at. And then if you want to take notes when I'm talking, or you have things that I say that bring something up in your mind, just take the notes. If you want to send me anything as far as if you have questions or you want further comments, you could email me or come see me and let me know. And then, like the chair said, on the Thursday, the 22nd, that's when we have our public hearing on the budget, and we go from there. So this budget reflects our ongoing priorities. So what ended up happening and what we try to do is, we had the district improvement plan, we have the 5-year strategic plan, we have all the DESI rules and regulations that we have to follow, and we try to prioritize all of that. So what our goal is overall is to design a budget and a structure that supports equitable, high-quality outcomes for all learners while trying to be mindful of fiscal responsibility. So I kind of broke this up into 2 phases, so to speak. The overview of how we created and developed the budget, and then the explanation of some of the costs that may seem harsh in here as far as that goes. So when we created this budget, I'm using the wrong clicker. Our priorities were high quality and equitable teaching and learning for all, workforce development and leadership, safe, supportive, and exclusive school environments, and family and community engagement, and operation and resource optimization. That's what we're trying to do. Now, where we start is we start with the budget that we have right now. We look at it, we're living in FY26, and we look at where we are, where we want to go, what we need to change, what we need to add, what efficiencies we could make, and that's sort of the give and take from everybody as far as that goes. So then what happens is, one of the things I wanted to, because I know that you asked for some data. Now I think this next slide is going to be almost impossible for you to see because of the data. So I'm going to hit this and I may stand up for a second. I will. I thought it might be hard for you to see, so I made you a printout of it.
You thought right.
I wanted this to,
Row H and Dogger right now.
yeah. So what we did is I was trying to make it clear to people the historical trends that we're talking about, because I know that's come up before as to we're not the same system as we were 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. So what I just handed to you are the historical trends as it relates to the budget, the staffing, and the students. So what we have here are the fiscal years FY16 through FY26, which is the current. So what I tried to call out for all of you is to show what we were as a workforce, what we had as an enrollment, and then the last 5 categories are the students that have different needs that make them fall into what's called the high needs classification. So if you look at this, and I picked out a role, for example, if you look at the full-time teaching staff, in FY16 it was 406 people. In FY21 it was 365, and in FY26 this year it's 333. So our staff has gone down. Our enrollment is basically the same. It did take a dip the post-COVID year, but it's as high as it's been. It's right now 2,734 students, and in fact we got 9 students that have registered to come since this was printed. So again, a lot of districts right now in the Commonwealth are on an enrollment decline. Saugus is holding its own, if nothing else. So I'm not saying there's a big boom, because we're basically where we were 10 years ago, but we haven't seen that dramatic decrease that a lot of the other school systems have faced. And then the other 5 columns deal with categorizations from DESE as far as what it means to be a student of high needs. Now, high needs is a student that falls into any classifications of English learners, English not the first language, low income, students with disabilities, or 504s. So our numbers are high, and they're escalating at a rapid pace. So even if we pick out one, as far as the town itself is changing, is our low income numbers went from 25% 10 years ago to 36%, and now it's 52%. So that is a drastic change. Our high needs overall, just the ones that have some high need involved in all, it was 39% back in FY16. Then it went up to 51%. Now it's 68.5% of the students that we have that classified by DESE as high needs. So we're definitely a school system that has students of need. So I wanted to give you this and share this with you just so you could see the historical trends that are there. Now what I did, the next slide, is our proposed budget. If you look at the budget book that you were given either before vacation or during vacation, it's broken down to a few sections. So this is where I'm gonna put my teacher hat on and go through the book that you have in front of you, which is the Superintendent Proposed Budget Book. This is the Superintendent Proposed Budget Book until after the hearing, or after hearings, the school committee adopts the budget, and then it becomes the school committee budget. So there is a letter in there from me that describes a lot of the talking points that I've already said, and I included that for people. Then the next one is the itemization. That's the Reader's Digest version of what differs from FY27 from FY26. This is the changes one. And this is a very general one. There's not a lot of specifics in here, but this is where the additional money is going. And then as you go, you'll have on the next one, you'll have the budget workbook, which has the staffing from the current year and the projected year next year. Those are those 2 pages. And the last part, the 15-page part, is the budget by cost center. So, in other words, what money's coming out of the vets, Belmonte, middle school, high school, administration, building grounds, non-instructional, district-wide instruction and special ed, and it's broken down in those cost centers. So that's what your book is that you're looking at when you, after tonight, go and do your homework and take a look at this. That's what's happening. So, if you look at the itemization one, which is the one that has basically what the FY26 appropriation is, our fixed cost increases, what it takes to make a level service budget, and then if adding our budget requests, where our FY26 proposed budget comes in. So if you look on that page just right away, you will see that the FY26 appropriation was $34,768,535. Our proposed budget for this year, FY27, is $37,485,066. It is a percentage increase of 7.81%. It's a little over $1 million more than the school committee approved budget from last January. So that's sort of the budget context. Everybody else set so far? I don't want to go too fast either, so what we have now is what are the major budget drivers and ongoing challenges? Where are these costs that are coming up? And this is going to be general, and we can definitely dig into this very specifically at the hearing, or if you have questions as to breakdowns for certain things, feel free to email me. So, the major budget drivers are the collective bargaining agreements, the out-of-district placements, and the out-of-district placement costs are something that every district right now, they've gone through the roof, so we're all at the mercy of those centers. Transportation costs, then our student growth and our increased diversity is something that cost us money, and that was what the historical trend should have shown you. And then basically our requirements, our regulatory requirements that we have to address regardless of whether we have the funds for it. So if we have to provide services for students, we have to provide services for students. It's not like those are something we can overlook. So the big increases, the level service increases that you see, and I don't have it broken out, and maybe you might want to see this broken out better, and I can certainly do that however you want. I took the three big ticket items that are causing the level service raise. Salaries, out-of-district placements, and transportation. And I broke the transportation up to special education transportation and regular education transportation. The out-of-district placements is an increase of almost $500,000 right there. And then the salaries. And it's, with the salaries, I actually have a savings that I put up there, but I wanted to show you that this, while the savings sometimes looks like a good thing, right now the turnover savings for retirements is $87,000. Now I'll take it. However, as you can see, that is not being realized as much as anybody would say it is. So we're not saving a lot of money on people retiring and then getting new teachers in. So that is not currently the trend. So I wanted to make that clear and get that out there. So these are the big cost elements that have made our level service budget increase. And if I'll read this, the level service increase was $2,520,741, and that's 7.25%, bringing us to $37,289,276. That's basically the middle page of that, the section titled itemization. That's the level service budget. That is if we maintain what we maintain. And if we have to change things, work within our current budget. So if I need to have a teacher of this, be a teacher of that, that's just a walkover. That's what it would take to level service our budget. Budget requests that came in, and this is the next, this may actually be the last slide. The big additional requests, and it's not big. It's, again, meeting the regulatory requirements. We have right now, we're gonna need a special education teacher at the middle school to address caseload concerns. We need a paraprofessional at the Belmonte to deal with service requirements. The VELC wants at least partial restoration towards the Dunades for safety. And then the Belmonte also wants the restoration of a STEAM class at the Belmonte as an elective, because we are a STEAM school. And high school and middle school, they have some additional supply needs. I believe those are world language and wellness that need additional supplies that are outside of what we currently have. And again, the STEAM elective teacher, what tends to happen, and I can submit I can get you any data points that you want, but if you look at if you go in the workbook here and look at this would be the budget workbook where you talk about, hold on a second, where you talk about full-time employees. We have full-time employees that come and go, okay? So in other words, not all of our employees are being paid out of the budget. This is on the budget workbook. This is the Saugus Public Schools staff, SY 2526, this one right here. You can see that not all our employees are in fact being paid out of the operational budget. We do have employees that are being paid out of revolving accounts. That would be like preschool and kindergarten. We do have the title grants, which we have people being paid out of. And what happens is, or what's happened in the past, is the grants have slowly dried up. For those of you that were here for a while, ESSER was a catch-all grant that a lot of schools put a lot of people into, and that's where the budgets collapsed for people. So and I can get you this data point, in FY '23, we had 26 people in grants. For next year, we're proposing 11. So we're trying to get the people out of the grants and into the LEA where they belong. Now, sometimes you get a grant where we hire staff, we have the grant, we create that initiative, and it doesn't pan out. And that's where we just dissolve the program. We don't push those people into the operational budget because the program goes down. The project Lead the Way was the program here at the Belmonte, and this is, I apologize for this, this is where this is all coming from. The project Lead the Way was part of the Belmonte STEAM Academy, and so we wanted to make sure that there's a restoration of those positions. Those positions were grant funded, and the grant has terminated. So that's something that we need to put back in the school, and Mr. Blair has been very adamant that there has to be some element of the STEAM. We have the arts, so don't get me wrong as far as that goes. We have the math, but we're talking about more of the science, technology, and engineering, that component of it. So that's what he's looking for as an additional position. So that's pretty much the breakdown of how this works. I think that's the end of the slide. No, sorry. What we tried to do in the past, and this is when we didn't choose it. When I say we, I wasn't even really here at the beginning of this. When the ESSER funding came and the COVID hit, there was money. And some school systems took them and just hired staff. And then they were just heavy with staff. And then when the money dried up, they didn't have the money to maintain the staff. This school system, and I'm not taking any credit because I wasn't the person involved, but the administration here got a lot of the curriculum and instructional resources that they needed out of that ESSER money, and were able to develop programs in math, English, science, at all levels, and make sure that everything was more curriculumly aligned, and they're all high-quality instructional materials that the state recommended. So we actually came out of that at a tactical advantage, because we took advantage of that funding, used it for an initiative that then the state pretty much now mandates. So we'd have to be doing that implementation now, but we got a lot of the costs already addressed, like the training, the planning, all the implementation stuff is already set, and that was done by the team before me. We've also worked on bringing in and expanding in-district special ed programs to try to reduce the out-of-district, because if we can do that and support it in-house, that's something that's a cost gain. And then we're trying to, and we're working with, and we're continuing to work with, trying to implement supports for the culturally and linguistically diverse students, to try to make them feel a sense of belonging and make sure that we're following what has to be done with that as well. So we have had efficiencies. We have worked to try to streamline this. This budget is not a zero-based budget. We didn't break it all down and start from scratch. We started from where we were, found the savings that we could, and then tried to be as fiscally responsible about what we kept and what we asked for along the way. I know you can't really, so what I would say to you, since you can't ask me any questions now, or that's not the protocol, I know I threw a bunch of stuff at you. I also know I threw a bunch of stuff at you at the beginning of the break by giving you a 20-page book and say, have fun, good luck, look it over. What I wanted to do tonight was to give you an overview of how this was put together and some of the key takeaways. If you're looking at this budget, and I'll share this slideshow with you as well, that way you have it. The reason and the rationale behind the slideshow and my talking tonight was to try to hit the key areas that we're looking for support on. And if you have other suggestions, that's part of the process when we come back in 2 weeks. I do want to thank everybody, because this was and I didn't start with this, but I'll end with this. This is a lot of work, and this is not one person doing this in a vacuum, trust me. The district administration has been on this since pretty much day one of the school year. We asked the building leaders to get their teams together, the department leaders to get their teams together and come up with what they need, and then go from there. So this has been a long work in progress, and it's been pretty much happening in the background since we've come back from school in September. The budget process really is not like a one-month process. It's pretty much ongoing.
That's it?
That's it.
Not a question, but a statement for you.
Yeah.
So you're gonna meet with, if any school committee members wanna meet two at a
Oh,
time or one at a time?
yeah.
If they get questions for you and stuff?
Yes, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah, anybody who wants to meet with me one-on-one, that's fine. If you have some questions that you want answered, instead of like scrambling and like trying to fire me the email, I'll get you the data you're looking for. If it's not what you want, we can go back and forth, and I can get you all the information and any information that you need.
But they can come in also and talk to you, correct?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, it might, absolutely. Sometimes it's easier to do that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is also easier, if you need specific information, email me, that way I don't forget it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, my door is open over the next 2 weeks. I'll spend as much time with anybody as they want.
All right, well, if that's what you get, it's, I guess we can, well, first, thank you very much for putting it together, and I'm sure we'll all be in contact. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Chair will second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much for everybody for coming today. We'll see you on the 22nd.